welcome back to Let's Talk. My name is John, and we're going to be continuing in our reviews of the entire Friday the 13th franchise with Friday the 13th Part 3, or Part 3D, that was released back in 1982. This one got a budget of $2.2 million and made over $30 million at the box office. Yet another success for this horror franchise. Still not as much of a moneymaker as the original Friday the 13th, but still successful enough for them to keep on going. And for me, Friday the 13th Part 3 is really where the series finally starts to take off. I really think that Friday the 13th Part 1, not the greatest of films. I get why it has the huge following that it does, why people love it so much. But then the second one, is kind of like a stopgap until we got to Friday the 13th Part 3. Then, Friday the 13th Part 3 is really where people actually start to know what the Friday the 13th franchise is, what its legacy would become. This is the first Friday the 13th movie where Jason finally gets his hockey mask. We start to have a lot more fun in these movies. You have like that disco main theme. We got plenty of 3D. Even if you're not watching this in 3D, you can clearly tell where the 3D stuff is supposed to be. And all of that just adds to the fun of this movie. When I think of the Friday the 13th franchise, I always think of fun. They're a good time, you turn them on, you turn your brain off, and you enjoy them. None of these movies are ever going to win an award for acting, cinematography, script, or just story in general. They're just there for you to have a good time. They always come in at about 90 minutes long. They don't waste your time. They're just a fun movie. We're just there to watch Jason go around, kill these teenagers, and get on out of there. And that is it. And by the time we get to Friday the 13th Part 3, that's really where the franchise finally started to do that. Like I said, I love the disco theme that is happening at the beginning of this movie. You get those really cool red opening credits. We kind of have the same exact setup that we have for all these movies. The kids are starting to get together. They're all going to head off to Camp Crystal Lake. There are a bunch of counselors there. Got to set up the camp for summer. The same exact premise we've had for all of these movies. But at the very beginning, I really enjoyed this scene in a supermarket where, I guess this couple, they're a little bit raggedy. This husband and wife, they run this supermarket. I guess they live behind it. Maybe it's a gas station or whatever. It's raining outside. The wife is just being super naggy to the husband. He has to watch his weight and all. But he's grazing the supermarket, taking a swig of orange juice and putting it back on the shelf. Just gross shit, especially after what we went through with the pandemic. That stuff really stands out now. He's got a bunny floating around in there. But the wife, super annoying. She's nagging him. But then, of course, what happens? The guy gets killed, then she gets killed, and then we got ourselves a movie. And they don't realize that that is the same Jason from the second movie. They see the news reports about what happened at Camp Crystal Lake there, so we know that it's been a little bit of time since the second film. Just like with Friday the 13th Part 2, we get a look back at what happened in that movie, just because, back in the 80s, like I said in the Part 2 review, Blockbuster or Hollywood Video or all the other video rental stores hadn't taken off yet. Really, VHS and Betamax were pretty brand new, and I don't know if people even had them in their homes yet, so rewatching this movie was almost impossible unless they played them on TV, so unless you saw the movie the year before, you didn't get to see this movie, so you had no idea what happened in Friday the 13th Part 2, and I really appreciate them starting off these movies with nice little flashbacks about what happened, so we know where we are. Almost like what the MCU did before the MCU. And the kills in this movie get turned up pretty good. You could see where the extra money went. You could see all the 3D shots, whether it be with an arrow or an eye. All that stuff is awesome. The kills definitely, though, get turned up a lot. We get ourselves a nice little 80s leather gang in here wearing red headbands, so you know that they spent a ton of time getting ready for the day. And then there's this character, Andy. Looks a little bit like Seth Rogen, but this guy is just a douchebag. And he's gaslighting everybody every time they call him out for all his shit because he keeps pretending to do all this. He's like the boy who cried wolf, so when he eventually does get his throat slit, nobody really cares because they think he's faking it, but really, he just got his throat slit by Jason. We had no idea, though, because the entire movie, this guy is just acting like a dick. And then every time someone calls him out on it, he's like, oh, well, that's the only thing I have to do because everybody hates me. It's like, come on, man. Like, you stop doing that. You can definitely be a little bit nicer. Everybody wants to be your friend, but you're just kind of acting like an asshole, and at the end of the day, everyone's just rooting against you. They still feel bad when he dies, but, I mean, come on. Nobody likes that character. One of the worst characters in the entire Friday the 13th franchise. They wrote that character to be just the most annoying character in the entire film. And at the very end of this movie, I really do appreciate how they finally eliminate Jason in this one. Really setting up Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter, but they really hinted at exactly what they would do early in this movie, which I thought was some pretty clever writing with the hey at the very early in the movie with the one guy lifting it up in there. So we knew that they were going to try and hang Jason at the very end of this movie. Really thought that was actually some pretty smart screenwriting, even though the rest of the story and plot just follow the exact same outline as the first two movies. But I really do feel like Friday the 13th Part 3 is probably the most enjoyable thus far, and I feel like this really is where we start to get the Friday the 13th franchise that I would love, and it's probably in the top 5 Friday the 13th films, which we will eventually rank them all once we get closer to the end of this franchise. Because right now, it would just be Friday the 13th Part 3, Friday the 13th Part 2, and then Friday the 13th in last so far. But anyway, guys, why don't we talk about the Scream Factory Blu-ray? But before we do that, if you are a fan of 4K Blu-ray reviews, movie reviews, lists, podcasts, and shorts, we try and do them all here on the channel, and nothing would help this channel out more than by just simply liking this video and subscribing to the channel. So, continuing on in our Scream Factory Blu-ray set release, where we were reviewing every single film in this entire box set, this beautiful 2020 box set that it features the entire Friday the 13th franchise for the first time since that black tin that came out back in the 2000s. So it's still really cool. I'm going to bring this up in every single one of these videos that we got every single Friday the 13th in here, including Freddy vs. Jason and the 2009 remake. And a lot of these received brand new scans. So we'll come inside, we'll grab Friday the 13th Part 3 or Part 3D, open it up. You'll see that it's a 1-disc set, so there's only 1 disc on here, but that is a 3D Blu-ray, so you have the option to choose from watching it in 3D if you have the TV capabilities, the Blu-ray player capabilities, and you have some 3D glasses, or you can watch it in Part 2D. So if you want to watch the 2D version, you just start there. It actually starts on 2D, realizing that most people probably don't have a 3D TV, and just like the previous ones, if you want to adjust the audio tracks, it's got to start in the new restored mono track. Like the first two, they have restored mono tracks, or you could do what I did and slide it down to the 5.1, and there was also 1 commentary track on here. There's also a bunch of extras, actually more than on the previous 2, mainly because they were really showing how they made the 3D effects, which was an extra that I really did appreciate on there, showing what they had to do with the camera. Really enjoyed that. Like I said in the previous releases, there is a full bonus disc, which is going to have most of your bonus features on there, but it is still really cool that they put a bunch of extras just on the disc here as well. Really just loading up this box set. I mean, this would have been more than enough, and I don't think people would have complained, but we also get a brand new scan of the film, just like Parts 1 and Part 2. But I actually think so far this would be the weakest. I guess they really concentrated on the 3D version, because the 2D version, a lot of scenes just look very blurry. It was very strange. I tested it out on a couple Blu-ray players. It is a new scan. A lot of the times the resolution is very high. The colors are very crisp and clear like the first two in here. It doesn't have the same warm problem that Part 2 had, but I would have to say that this one definitely suffers from just being very blurry in part, or fuzzy in parts. Very noticeable early in the movie when they go pick up the girls and Andy's got the mask on, and he does that fake killing and he says, well, no, I'm an actor. Like that scene, you notice like all the blurriness of the background, and I'm like, that's weird for a new scan. Maybe they had some trouble, like just they were doing the 3D stuff and the camera had to be a little bit different for the 2D stuff. I'm not entirely sure. The 3D stuff is also very obvious, which I actually kind of appreciate. I find that stuff to be very funny because they're using 80s 3D around the time when we got movies like Jaws 3D. They were really pushing it in the early 80s, and all that stuff is just very obvious in the movie, but I really do think that adds to the charm of it, and this Blu-ray definitely handles that stuff well, but you are going to notice exactly when those 3D scenes are. So overall, as far as the visuals and the audio go, it's all solid. It's just not as good as Parts 1 and Part 2 as far as the Blu-ray go, even though they got brand new scans of it, got a brand new audio track, and some of these extras are new as well. Like there's a magazine in here, so they are promoting all of that stuff, and it is pretty cool that we got some brand new extras. We got a brand new upgrade to the visuals, which is definitely an upgrade. I don't want to sell that short because I have seen this on VHS and on DVD numerous times, and this Blu-ray is definitely an upgrade over previous versions. I just wasn't blown away, and I honestly would have expected a little bit more, but I'm sure it's source material. It's 1982. 41 years ago. At the time of this, it was 38 years ago. So I'm sure that they had a lot to deal with. We're talking about low-budget horror films here. They're not going to look the best. And do you really want them to look the best? Probably not. That's not how you came to these films. They are supposed to look low down and dirty and gritty, and they definitely do, but definitely Friday the 13th Part 1 still is the best looking Blu-ray so far in this Scream Factory box set. How would I rate Part 3, including the film? the Blu-ray with its visuals and audio and its extras, I would actually still give this a really solid 8 out of 10, just because I really do enjoy this film a lot. I just wish that the Blu-ray kind of matched up to what the first Friday the 13th looked in here. Other than that, I have to say, it's still pretty damn solid, and so far, this box set is 3 for 3 for me. I definitely love what Scream Factory did, and I'm looking forward to talking about one of my favorites in the franchise, Friday the 13th Part 4, The Final Chapter. That one features Corey Feldman, and that one is probably one of the best in the entire franchise. I know it's my second favorite, so that's the next one we'll be talking about. Hey everyone, Future John here, and it's time for our digital code giveaway. It's Monday, and that means it's time for us to spin my magic wheel and pick our 2 digital code giveaway winners. How do you enter the digital code giveaway? Well, in Friday's video, I asked you guys 2 digital code giveaway questions. All you have to do is answer one of those in the comment section. As long as you did that, I put your name on a magic wheel. I spun that bad boy 2 times. The 2 names it landed on, they have their choice of the digital codes that you see on the screen before you today. And I asked you guys, what was your favorite classic Universal monster, and what is your favorite classic horror film? That's any horror film that came out before the year of 1970. So we had a lot of great choices. I would have to say that the number 1 choice as far as classic Universal monsters go, Dracula was probably the number 1 choice, and I understand that. He really set forward what we would know for vampire films in the future. Bram Stoker's Dracula is one of the most famous vampire films. It's actually probably still my choice for the best Dracula film. I know that film doesn't work for everybody. Completely understand that. But I absolutely always love the atmosphere of a Dracula film, and they absolutely captured that with the original from 1931. My personal choice would be The Invisible Man or The Creature from the Black Lagoon. Both of those films still hold up to this very day, and you can see that Guillermo del Toro was very influenced by The Creature of the Black Lagoon, just based on The Shape of Water, the Best Picture winner from a few years ago, where he basically just recreated that monster and had him fall in love with a mute person. Although, I feel like people don't talk about that movie that much. It really, really did touch me at the time, and it would have been my choice for the Best Picture that year. And it was. I absolutely just love that movie, although I haven't revisited it in a pretty long time, if I'm being honest with you guys. I have the 4K Blu-ray. Maybe that's a spooky season review I should do, is the 4K Blu-ray for The Shape of Water. If you guys want to see that review, leave that in the comment section below, and I'll stop rambling so we can spin this magic wheel and see who the 2 lucky winners are. First wheel spin coming up. Mandalono. Gonna remove your name, William. Spin again. Gomez. First winner was William Maldonado, and the second winner was Rico Gomez. Congratulations, guys. You guys have both been members of the channel for a while now. I don't think this is both of your first wins. This might be the second for both of you guys. And you guys know how this works by now. Make sure you email me at my email address of letstalkentmt@gmail.com. If you don't want to do that, you could always direct message me on Facebook, Twitter, /X, whatever it's going by this week, or Instagram. Let me know which of the digital codes you want. As long as the other winner didn't take that before you, that digital code is all yours. And if I made a mistake and didn't put your name on the wheel this week, that means you also won a digital code, and you can reach out to me and let me know, hey, John, you fucked up and you didn't put my name on the magic wheel this week, and I will also send you a digital code, and the same rules apply as long as the code wasn't taken by another winner. That digital code is all yours. And guys, make sure you come back to this Friday's video, which will be a review of the new A24 4K scan of the 1984 concert film Stop Making Sense, which is one of my favorite concert films. Actually, it is my favorite concert film of all time. It's the concert film that features the Talking Heads in it. I I believe it was shot by Jonathan Demme, so I absolutely cannot wait to check out this movie in its brand new 4K scan. I'm hearing a lot of good things. I'm seeing it in IMAX on Thursday, so my review for that will be out this Friday, and that'll be attached to this week's digital code giveaway. So guys, make sure if you didn't win this week, you come back to Friday's video, and we will do this all again. And I want to thank each and every single one of you for entering into the digital code giveaway. It means the world to me. I just love doing this giveaway just because it lets me chat with all of you guys and get some great movie recommendations and kind of find out what you guys are fans of. So I really, really appreciate the digital code giveaway for all that. And thank you guys all so much for being fans of Let's Talk. And if you want to continue to support Let's Talk, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, get out in those streets, and tell your friends about us. And we'll be seeing you around.